And it brings up a whole conversation. We've got Professor Bill George at Harvard University. He studies corporate management practice. Also, former U.S. Senator Judd Gregg, who has been a senator during the crisis and is now a defender of the banking industry, representing their lobby, SIFMA. So do you agree with Hank Paulson that the public never got the message that TARP was not a bailout for the big banks, but a bailout for Main Street as well?
I think that's absolutely true. I remember when we were asked to come up to the Capitol about 9:30 at night, those of us who were negotiating TARP, and Secretary Paulson and Chairman Bernanke came into the room, and without any ad hominems, just Chairman Bernanke said that if Secretary Paulson doesn't get what he needs in the area of resources and flexibility, the entire banking system of the United States will fail, and it will take with it most banks in America, and we will go into one of the most severe potentially recessions or depressions in our history. There were estimates that we were getting that up to 25% unemployment. I mean, you're talking about Main Street shutting down. We had anecdotal evidence of major American corporations which were incredibly strong, which are common names, not being able to move their money from one bank to another so they could open their branches. We were on the verge of a massive crisis, and the crisis sure would have affected the banking industry dramatically, but it would have affected Americans, middle and moderate income Americans, even more dramatically, because they would have had no way to deal with it.
And yet, as the Secretary alludes to the fact, the public perception is that it was a bailout of the big banks and the financial system.
Well, it was demonized.
Yeah.
I happen to think that Chairman Bernanke and Secretary Paulson saved the world, basically, financially, and made us capable of having a recovery that was actually doable, as versus being in a depression for a long period of time. But, it became a four-letter word in the politics of the day, and it was totally misrepresented.
I heard Senator Gregg and Bill George. I heard Secretary Paulson speak at the Economic Club of New York last week. He didn't talk about it. It's in the Bloomberg Business Week story. To me, this is not about Lehman. It's about AIG. So much more of this blow-up was about what to do about AIG. Bloomberg Business Week beautifully shows how the AIG bailout was a conduit from U.S. funds to AIG to the European banks, which were hugely related to AIG. But where does AIG fit into this, Bill George?
If it had gone over, it had been a total disaster. And it didn't just U.S.
Much more than Lehman.
Yes. Lehman was just... People underestimated, particularly Secretary Paulson, underestimated the effect of Lehman. It shut down all the credit markets. It's like every car and every transportation system in the world shuts down. There's no energy. The system was shutting down, but there was a huge amount of money pouring in trying to take down the banks, coming in from a lot of funds. I don't know where the money's coming from. It could have been coming from all over the world, but I can tell you no one knew it was going to happen. And at the end of the day, it was a scary, scary time. And Paulson and Bernanke are going to go down in history as heroes for stepping up to this crisis.
But within this Lehman-AIG axis, and again, I would just say that AIG is not getting nearly the focus it should. Are we in a better place now?
Well, we are in a better place in the sense that our banking system is much more highly capitalized. That many of the markets which were the issues here, the derivatives markets, are getting much more transparency in them. That we have a system of basically putting in place living wills, and we have the capacity to do stress tests. So I think we're much more sensitive to the underlying problems that were significant at the time. Going down the road, there could still be another problem. I mean, the GSEs have not been solved, and you've got huge contingent liability there. But the simple fact is our banking and our capital industry has moved forward, I think, fairly effectively.
Senator Gregg, thank you so much on this important five-year anniversary of Lehman. Bill George, thank you as well. Greatly appreciate it.
All right.